Good morning everyone, welcome to the Pineapple Chicken blog where I cover all things positivity, culture and lifestyle. So it is currently around 10 o'clock in the morning and this vlog, as you saw from the title, is all about my trip to Singapore. So I'm going on this trip for my friend's wedding, which I'm super excited about. I also wanted to talk to you about kind of the stress of just traveling in these kind of weird times. As much as we're allowed to travel, there are so many different rules and restrictions. So I thought I would share this with you to kind of talk through and help others who are thinking about traveling to Asia or particularly Singapore, and go through kind of all the different stages and steps and like check-in lists that I had to do just to make sure that I can get there. I mean, we're still not there yet, so I'm still a bit nervous. Until I'm on the plane and I've landed in Singapore, I'm not going to try to get too excited. I'm now all packed, so my suitcases are downstairs, so we're just going to wait, have lunch, have a chilled out day until we get to the airport. So we're just about to head off, but I wanted to show you how much I'm bringing for an 8-day trip. It's going to shock you, I am not known for packing lightly. But maybe to clarify, so the Goldie's one is mine, this one is a wedding gift, this is the Traders, and this is naturally when you're bringing a lot of tech, which I'll show as well in another video of what tech I bring when I go on holiday, and also trying to vlog this, it just naturally means you have a lot more things to carry with you. And then I like to carry quite a lot in my backpack because, well, it's currently full because I've taken the things out that needs to go through security, just a bit easier, so it's in my backpack rather than in my grimoire. So that's it, yeah, that's what one needs for an 8-day trip.
Walk into the place, dispatch you from a race. My heart, it started racing.
So we've just got through security and then we're going straight to the lounge because Terminal 2 is rubbish. So we just got to the lounge. Security didn't take too long and it's surprisingly quiet in Terminal 2 as well. When you enter Terminal 2, it was passengers only. You couldn't have family or friends to kind of send you off. Check-in took a bit longer than usual because Singapore regulation seems to be confusing. People at the check-in desk kind of didn't know what requirements were needed and what documents they needed to check, which was slightly frustrating, but it's okay. I understand it must be difficult. So in terms of what they wanted to check was to see the vaccinated travel pass, which you will need to if you're flying to Singapore using the vaccinated travel lanes. And then they just needed to see the PCR test that we did.
The crowd across the way, the flat was on your face, and then from the 80s, someone keeps blocking my way.
So we're here, we've got the wine, kind of water, got lager, more beer, bit more wine as well. So this is the drink station, and then we have more juices, beers, teas, coffees, all the like. And then let's have a look at the food. Salad, what's in here? Chili con carne, sorry, rice, looks like some bits of pasta here as well, and then bread. There is another station here. We've got mince pies, stollen logs, comes some sweets. Got a little bit of a cold counter section of kind of sandwiches. Oh, that looks nice. I think it's like panna cotta, cheese and crackers and fruit. So nothing astounding. The lounge is not that great. The selection of food is quite small, but there's plenty of drinks and it's nice and quiet, so I do recommend coming and using it if you get the opportunity to do so. Our first stop will be Frankfurt, and then we're going to transfer from Frankfurt to Singapore, so that I guess I'll see you in Frankfurt. So on the flight, disinfectant and chocolate. Hello, so I've landed in Frankfurt airport. Just to give you an update on the process of flying into the airport. So when we landed and disembarked the plane, once you got up the stairs and just outside the gates, actually police were waiting to check. I assumed it was police. That's what they looked like, or if not, like kind of customs control, where they were checking kind of whether we were transiting. Or technically at the moment, UK citizens can't actually land in Germany unless I think they are German residents and have certain or like other permissions. Because we were just transiting, we just showed them our passport, our boarding pass for our transit, and also just a negative PCR test. So I really recommend printing out these documents because they do come and ask you time and time again to look at it. It just seems easier to kind of pick out the piece of paper than kind of finding it on your phone. And then once you get out, you can see like a gate, so you know where to transfer over to. It was actually only a few gates down, which made it really, really easy. I do recommend you going there sooner than later because it turns out when you got to the gate is open, but you're not boarding yet, and there's a long line for a document check. And that document check is to confirm you have all the right documents to fly on to Singapore. So that includes like the vaccinated travel lane, whether you're vaccinated or not. So if you're in the UK, it's like the NHS COVID pass. They looked at our PCR test again, whether it's negative, and then all your like boarding pass and passport as well. They also asked kind of where you travelled in the last 14 days and whether you had any COVID symptoms. So I really do recommend, even though it's so unenvironmentally friendly, and as much as I don't want that, it is to print out the documents, because I think some people are struggling. They're like looking at our phones and like flicking through, trying to find the documents. And I'm just one of those people who get really scared. Like I can imagine, what if my phone dies, like the battery's finished, or like something happens to my phone, or I somehow deleted the documents. So I really recommend that you print it out. It's just easier to show it and to the staff. So that was that. I'm just waiting for boarding, and then it will be a 12.5 or nearly 13-hour flight to Singapore. I'll see you in Singapore. So this is business class. Our seats 2K and 2H. So we've got a very fluffy cushion, a blanket as well. Then we also have, which is pretty cool, in this corner we have a mattress, which for sleeping, and slippers as well. Oh, so I didn't even need to bring my own. And then in the cubby hole we have, tote bag, amazing. I'll check what they have. And then water, another bottle, which is great. And so I think that's it. And then your power there. So it is quite narrow compared to like other, especially like Cathay Pacific. It is quite narrow, but you do have plenty of foot space. And then the screen's quite big as well. So yeah, looking forward to our 12-hour flight. So in terms of storage space, this is the only bit you get, and a bit underneath the seat. If not, other than that, you don't really get any at all. Then here we have the buttons for reclining, full flatbed, so that's easy enough to understand. But what's really awesome, I do love, is the tote bag you get as instead of a kind of toiletry bag that you get in other sites. So this one is Munich, and this is navy kind of tote bag, which is really useful. These are the other designs you can get. So the Trader has got the San Francisco, but I wish I got the Tokyo one. That looks so awesome. But inside there are stuff inside, which is great. So in here you get a pair of socks, toothpaste and a toothbrush, and then in here in this little box some stuff from L'Occitane, which I'll open up. So in terms of L'Occitane, it's only 2 little items, but Ultra Thirst Quenching Cream looks awesome, and a lip balm, which is also very useful because you get really dry whilst on flights. So nice little gifts. Okay, so we found a really cool feature. You can change like the cushion firmness of the seats, and at the moment I've set it to the lowest, so it feels like really bubbly and wobbly. It's like kind of like as if it's the airbed is kind of inflated, and then I feel like it pumps more air in so that it becomes firmer. So if you hold, so don't click, we tried clicking, it doesn't work, you have to hold it, and then you can feel it slowly, like the seat inflate, and it just becomes stiffer. So at the moment I'm keeping it at 2 because it is pretty soft at least. I think any firmer I probably won't like it.
Before you leave the aircraft, pull the red toggle to inflate the vest. If necessary, use the red tube. The lamp lights up automatically in contact with water. This flight is a no-smoking flight. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth function during your stay on board. Kindly listen for announcements by the crew. Laptops and other similar equipment and remote-controlled toys is forbidden for the entire time you are on board. If your electronic device falls into any part of your seat that is not accessible, please call a flight attendant.
Starters, this is the beef, and then we have cheesy bruschetta, and this is the smoked salmon. Main course with cod and salmon. Doesn't look that appetizing, but maybe it's yummy. We just got handed this, I think they're like long sleeve pajamas. So this is for the trader, he got this size. But how nice! This is so good. Just put the mattress on. With this underneath.
Someone keeps blocking my way. I can't feel farther away. Wait on a moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you. Oh,
Hey everyone, it's day 2 in Singapore, and I wanted to reflect on the Singapore arrival process because I didn't have a chance to do it yesterday, and there was not a lot of the places didn't allow filming, as you can imagine, going through immigration. So once you disembark off the plane, they will ask for your boarding pass just to check whether you're staying in Singapore or you're transiting to another destination, and once you do that, they'll direct you to different places. So because we're obviously arriving in Singapore, we were directed straight to the arrivals hall to go through immigration. When you get there, they do ask whether you've already filled in the electronic health declaration, which is the arrivals card, which we did before, because you can do that 2 days prior your flight to Singapore. Once you've done that, that meant that you can go straight into kind of immigration. If not, they did have an area where you can sit down and fill it in. So once we got to kind of the immigration desk, it was really straightforward. They checked passport again and boarding pass, and they didn't check any other documentation, so they didn't need to see insurance or anything like that. The PCR test, in terms of what we took before we flew, was no longer relevant for them because we had to take a PCR test upon arrival, so that was fine. And I think, I'm just trying to remember, VTL, they didn't even check the VTL pass as well. I think they had that all in the system, so it was really, really straightforward. They just did the usual immigration, so you get your photo taken and your thumbprints done, and after that you get handed a little sticker that you stick on your t-shirt, a coloured sticker, and I think it's just to tell you whether you can just exit the airport, or once you exit the airport you have to get a PCR test. So given that we were short-term visitors, we needed the PCR test, so we had a green little sticker to identify us. After that, you go straight into baggage reclaim, get your bags, and then you get directed, you follow all the arrows. It's super easy, really clear to go and get your PCR test. So the PCR test kind of like testing station is outside airport, but kind of in tarpaulin tents and stuff. So it's a bit warm, but not super hot. Then first get registered, and this is where kind of all the documents come out. So you need to show your VTL, you need to show QR code that you booked for the PCR test, and then they check your passport, and they also want to know what flight you flew in from, because we flew from a vaccinated travel lane VTL flight. They needed to confirm that. So once you get registered, you get all these like 3 different stickers. It's all kind of, they're handed to you with your passport, and then you go and get your PCR test done. So that was all super easy. They kind of put you in a little cubicle, and then a nurse would do the swab, so it's throat and both nostrils. And once that's done, sit and you go and get straight into a taxi. So how it works is you kind of get exit out to do your PCR test, and you kind of go back into the terminal to exit to get to the taxi stand or however way you were going to go to your hotel. So the taxi to the hotel for us, it took about 15 minutes, if not less. But I just wanted to say, those who were traveling and worried, it was really, really straightforward. I think it was more of a hassle kind of prior to flying. So if you had all your documents ready, you kind of did all the checklists, it was really straightforward once you got into Singapore. I found the whole process kind of more scary beforehand, thinking, oh, I don't know what to expect. But now that I've gone through it, it wasn't as bad as I thought. So yeah, it was not bad. In terms of PCR, we got the results actually the same evening. So we landed at 5:30ish, did the test around, I would say 6, and we got it around 10:30 at night, which was great because I was really worried that we had to wait until the next day, so we had to kind of isolate in the hotel for a lot longer, but we didn't, so it was really, really good. But because of changes and restrictions now and the new variant, it does mean that we have to take a lateral flow test every day. Staying at the Clan Hotel, they were super, super helpful because I couldn't leave the hotel last night to buy one. They were helpfully picked one up for me so I could do a lateral flow test this morning, so they could actually leave the bedroom to have our breakfast, which was great, and just register out of that online. In terms of daily lateral flow tests, I'm only on day 2, so I've only gone through the process once. So this is the unsupervised lateral flow test. So again, like I said, we just bought lateral flow test, and then it's the form that you fill out online. The Singapore Travel Office actually sends you an email because you've registered to do VTL. They have your email address. They actually send you with all the links what you need to, 1, register your lateral flow test results, and because day 3 has to be a supervised lateral flow test, he gave a link to how to book an appointment to book your lateral flow test with a supervised one, and also the link to where to pay. So in terms of like the boxes of lateral flow tests that you can buy, they're about $11 for 2 tests. So that's actually that was quite good, I thought. That's not too expensive. So what's 11 Singaporean dollars? That's about, roughly more than divide by 2, right? So divide by 2, I would say £5-ish, £6, something like that, which is not bad. And then the Gover one, which is supervised, is 15 Singaporean dollars per person. So it's about £15-16, which again is not terrible, but I mean, luckily we only have to do a supervised one twice. So all in all, I think I was more worried about the whole process. It has been okay, it has been quite hassle-free, and the good thing about in Singapore, it seems everything's super convenient. You can just go to your local convenience store, your local 7-Eleven to get a lateral flow test. I'd also thought I'd use this opportunity to say you do have to download the Trace Together app, which is a very, very good and better version than our NHS app that we have in the UK. So you have to turn it on when you are in Singapore, and if you don't have roaming, then they recommend that you get a Singaporean SIM card so that you can have it on your phone and use it wherever you go, because your Bluetooth has to be turned on throughout your stay in Singapore, and you have to keep the app for 21 days after, so that can contact you should you come into contact with someone who becomes positive. Everywhere you go, they do ask you to check in, so it's super easy. The app is actually really intuitive. It will show your vaccinated status on the app so that people can check that you are fully vaccinated. It has a button to say scan your QR code, and that's where you check in. And it's just super easy. Everyone does ask that, but they are very diligent. So even us going downstairs in the hotel to have breakfast, had to scan in to check in. So all in all, not too bad. But this is only day 2 of my day like 8-day trip, so we'll see how everything goes. If you do have any questions, please do leave them down in the comments below. I will absolutely try and answer them as much as I can. As you know, this is obviously an evolving situation, so probably this video might not be as up to date when you travel, or the rules have changed by the time you do travel, but if I can help, I would love to. I can't wait to share more with you of our Singapore trip, so do stay tuned. So if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing to my channel. Until then, we'll sweet and sour love.